How much do I need to save for retirement? Well, this is a very difficult question to answer for anyone who is very far away from retirement. However, there is a simple formula for you to gauge whether you are on the right track towards saving for retirement. If you stick around until the end of the video, I'll give you some powerful strategies to not just save more but also invest more if you feel like you're financially behind. Let's start with 20s. It is highly likely that you have just graduated from school and this is your first job, which is an entry-level job which pays you the lowest band of an entry-level salary. You have just graduated with a massive student loan, while at the same point of time, this is your first time when you've achieved financial independence. So you've probably moved out of your parents' home and are living independently. All of this means that with the salary band that you have and all of the costs that you have to accrue, you probably have almost zero savings. What you can do in your 20s that will help you a lot going forward into your future is firstly, build good financial habits. This could be reading or watching YouTube content like mine, which is your cue to subscribe to my channel, and understanding all of the financial concepts that will help you in your future. Secondly, is tracking all of your income and expenses. You need to know what your income is and how much money are you spending out, which will give you a very good understanding of your overall financial state. Thirdly, is avoiding bad debt. This is through high interest credit card loans or through buying frivolous items through your buy now, pay later programs. And lastly is being regular at investing, even if it means investing $10 a month. 30s are a very interesting stage in your career. By now, you've learned quite a big deal about yourself in terms of your personality, what you stand for, what are your values. While at the same point of time in your career, you have likely hunkered down on a particular path where you want to grow into. This is a time when you've probably achieved 3 to 4 promotions from your early 20s or when you started at the very entry level base and now likely have more money to spend. According to Fidelity, in your 30s, your savings should be 1x the amount of your base salary. So let's just say if your base salary is 60,000, then you must have 60K in your savings, which is inclusive of the money in your bank account, in your investments, as well as your retirement account. Now, don't be discouraged if you're not here. Many people aren't, and I certainly wasn't when I turned 30. However, later I built it up. What's more important to do in your 30s is firstly, aim to save at least 15% of your annual base salary. Secondly, with the raises, bonuses, and the promotions that you may achieve, it is very important to avoid creeping into lifestyle inflation. And lastly, if you made any kinds of poor decisions in your 20s because of which you've accumulated some bad debt, this is the time to pay it off and get rid of it completely. Moving into your 40s makes the multiple looks a lot more steeper. The 1x multiple that you had in your 30s has now increased to 3 times, which means if you have a base salary of 60,000, now you need to have 180,000 saved. Now this figure does look scary, but this figure is a combination of all of the investments that you've made in your 20s and your 30s, provided you stuck to it regularly, and all of the compounding and the growth that has happened on all of these. This certainly doesn't mean that you suddenly wake up one day and start saving 60% of your annual salary, which is not a realistic scenario for many people out there. What you need to do in your 40s is firstly, max out all of your tax-free and your retirement accounts. Secondly, plan for expenses. Now, these include any of the college funds, or for some of you who might be taking care of your parents, any of the medical emergencies that may arise going forward. Thirdly is to reduce your risk on your investment portfolio, and this can be done through diversification. This is not likely the time for you to take on additional risk, as you may have dependents who depend on your income. In your 50s, the guidelines say that you need to have 6 times of your base salary, meaning for a base salary of 60,000, you need to now have 360,000 saved. What you need to do in your 50s is firstly preserve your wealth. This is not the time to take any more risks, considering that you are very close to retirement. Invest in a sure shot fund where your base amount is always secure and you're likely getting an interest on top of it. You won't have time to recoup your investments if you lose them. Secondly, is expect the unexpected costs. This includes any of the unexpected costs like medical bills that you may have to incur, and build risk mitigation strategies for these by buying either health insurance or life insurance to preserve all of your savings. Thirdly is find avenues for extra income. Most of the 50-year-olds that I have come in contact with are acting as independent consultants, and this is particularly because they have either built domain expertise in a particular area or in a particular industry through which they use in their free time to make extra cash on the side, which directly contributes towards your retirement funds. Beyond 60s, your multiplier is now 8 times, which means for a base salary of 60,000, you likely need to have saved 480,000. What to do in your 60s is firstly, have an understanding of all of the accounts that you've invested in. What are these investment accounts? What are the types of risks that they are carrying? Which brings me to tax implications. Many of these so-called retirement accounts are taxable upon retirement. So knowing when to withdraw the money from it can actually help you incur the least amount of taxes. And thirdly, your best bet in this case during these ages is to preserve your money in a savings account such that it'll preserve the base amount and give you a little bit of interest on top of it. These numbers are merely guidelines. So if you are already doing better than these multipliers, then you're doing better than most people out there. While at the same point of time, if you're struggling, the average number to save for an individual every year is 15%. If you can't get there, then my take on this is first start by saving 1% in your first year, followed by bumping it up to 2% in your second year, 3% in your third year, and so on until you get to the 15% mark. After that, you can either be consistent with saving 15% every year or start increasing it by percentage every year going forward. It is extremely important to start investing or saving as early as possible. And as we can see, the more that we save when we are younger, the higher is the accumulation of the amount of funds that we have available for retirement. Now that you have a guideline and a benchmark to understand where you stand in terms of your saving for retirement, this video will tell you why saving your first 10K is the most important milestone. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time.